What's good? This is JVB representing SPD, and that is SportsPerDiem.com. The Chicago Bears come back to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football, 20-19. Nick Foles defeats Tom Brady yet again. And no, I don't want to hear nobody say Nick Foles didn't beat Tom Brady. The Chicago Bears beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't want to hear none of that because I was a Peyton Manning guy. Peyton Manning is my favorite quarterback of all time. But every time Tom Brady and Peyton Manning played against each other, the Patriots against the Colts, and to a lesser degree, the Patriots against the Broncos, every time Tom Brady beat Peyton Manning, that's still safe. Tom Brady defeated Peyton Manning. So when I bring up Nick Foles, obviously Nick Foles against Tom Brady isn't the great historic matchup that Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady is. Those are two Hall of Famers. You know, those are two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Nick Foles ain't that. But guess what? Nick Foles is now 2-0 against Tom Terrific, the GOAT, Tom Brady. Was the game Thursday night a sexy game? Hell no, it wasn't. Nick Foles was missing guys. You know, he missed Allen Robinson on an easy pitch and catch early in the game. I talk about Mitch Trubisky and all his inaccuracies. So I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to overlook Nick Foles missing easy targets as well. And with that said, not only did the Chicago Bears start off slow again, but they also found themselves down double digits yet again. They find themselves in a 13-point deficit. And yet again, for another week, the Chicago Bears got to play catch up. But this time, they come back didn't start in the second half. It actually started at the end of the second quarter. David Montgomery ran in a 1-yard touchdown. That 1-yard touchdown from David Montgomery was the first rushing touchdown of the season for the Chicago Bears. And that 1-yard touchdown will go down as the most impactful running play of the game for the Bears. Just like the previous game against the Indianapolis Colts, the Bears didn't do anything on the ground. They couldn't get anything going. The Bears offensive line, they just couldn't create any push. David Montgomery couldn't find any holes. They just couldn't get anything done against this Tampa Bay defensive line, which is pretty damn good. But now the Bears are down 13-7, and late in the second quarter, we finally have ourselves a game. Tom Brady and this Buccaneers offense takes the field. It's around 2 minutes left in the half. And of course, you know, it's Tom Brady, so they're not going to be conservative. You know, they got a couple of timeouts left. It's a couple of minutes left in the half, so they're going to try to march down the field to at least get into field goal range. The first couple of passes go incomplete, and then on third down, Tom Brady finds his third string running back, Vaughn. I don't know his first name, my bad, you know, but I don't know the man's first name, but he throws the ball to the running back, and he gets lit the fuck up by Kyle Fuller. Now in real time, the referee throws the flag because he sees Vaughn laid out. You know, Vaughn just laying there, and he just believed that maybe Kyle Fuller hit him illegally. Kyle Fuller came in out of nowhere with the shoulder, with the arm, with the chicken wing, popped him, knocked him on his ass. A clean hit, a beautiful hit, and now we have fourth down. Well, not so fast. Because as they were showing that replay to get clarification on whether or not it was a clean hit, it turns out that not only was it a clean hit, but Vaughn caught the ball. Vaughn made a move. Vaughn took a couple of steps before he got lit up by Kyle Fuller, and he fumbled the ball. So with it being under 2 minutes left in the half, it was the Chicago Bears review from upstairs, and it was proven that Kyle Fuller knocked Vaughn down, Vaughn fumbled the ball, and Robert Quinn being Johnny on the spot. And now we cooking. The Bears are down 13-7, but now they are deep in Tampa Bay Buccaneers territory, and they still have plenty of time left, 2 timeouts to get a touchdown. The receiver of choice on this drive for Nick Foles was Jimmy Graham. He threw it to him the first time in the end zone. Jimmy Graham caught the ball, but he was out of bounds. So what does Nick Foles do? He goes back to that same play with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham with the spectacular one-handed, one-arm catch. The PAT is good. And the Chicago Bears have scored 14 unanswered points in about 2 minutes to go to the half up 14-13 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't get me wrong, you know, it's still very early in the season, but I have to give some credit to Jimmy Graham because when the Bears signed Jimmy Graham, I even did a video and I said that I didn't see the big deal in getting Jimmy Graham. Over the last few years, you know, he looked washed. I don't know what it is. Maybe he found the fountain of youth, but Jimmy Graham is playing at a pretty high level. And no, this is not going to be the Jimmy Graham who's going to have 60, 70, 80 catches a season. But he is showing that if you put him up against a small safety or a smaller linebacker, he can still take advantage of that situation. He can still out-physical defensive backs in the red zone. Jimmy Graham, and it's still early, but so far so good, Jimmy Graham has played pretty well. But now going into the second half of the game, it was about three things: defense, field goals, and penalties. These are two of the most penalized teams in the NFL, and it showed Thursday night, especially with the Buccaneers. You saw it on one of the Tampa Bay drives where they got into Bears territory, but then all of a sudden, they kept going back. They kept going back. They kept going back because of penalties. That drive was capped off by their center, Ryan Jensen, getting the personal foul for headbutting. And you saw after that drive, once they headed to the sidelines, Tom Brady is going off. Tom Brady is screaming, yelling, cussing at Ryan Jensen and that Tampa Bay offensive line to play better. But in the second half, the defense has stepped up. Nobody gave up a touchdown. Khalil Mack, and I got on him for not catching that ball against the Colts, not getting that interception. But in this game, he went crazy. But one of Khalil Mack's sacks in that game, and everybody know what sack I'm talking about. When Khalil Mack came around, he touched Tom Brady. Tom Brady immediately fall. Tom Brady don't want none of that smoke. Tom Brady is in his mid-40s. He ain't played this long for no reason. He a smart guy. He a smart quarterback. He a smart dude. But Khalil Mack and the offensive lineman, the rookie tackle, they still interlocked by the arm. Khalil Mack goes and gives the man a hip toss. And if you watch wrestling or you watched professional wrestling at any point in your life, you know what a hip toss is. Khalil Mack grabbed the man with one arm that's over 300 pounds and he hip tossed him like he wasn't none. He literally threw the man like a sack of potatoes. But Khalil Mack was out there doing Khalil Mack things. Akeem Hicks had a nice game. They still getting gashed up by the running backs though. Ronald Jones had over 100 yards in this game. And then throwing the ball, they're still giving up a lot over the middle. On top of those middle linebackers, specifically Danny Trevathan. But in back-to-back games, they're only giving up 19 points. So this Bears defense may not be elite. They may not be getting the turnovers, and that's the frustrating part. They're not really turning over the ball, but they are being stingy. They are the stingiest defense in the red zone, so they are still pretty damn good, and they're still a top 5 defense in the National Football League. And with that said, both defenses were playing very stingy. Both teams drove down the field, but they can only settle for field goals. So Ryan Suckup will make a field goal, 16-14 Bucks. Cairo Santos makes a field goal, so it's 17-16 Bears. Then Ryan Suckup comes back late in the game, makes a field goal, 19-17 Buccaneers. It's late in the fourth quarter. It's Tampa Bay's ball. You have Tom Brady under center. You're hoping that he can milk the clock. You're hoping that he can have the Bears use all their timeouts. They'll milk the clock, get the first downs, and they'll win the game. But give credit to this Bears defense. They tackled the running back for a loss on first down. But then to go, Tom Brady throws on second down, throws on third down, both times incomplete passes. So there's no time that really came off the clock. I believe it was less than 20 seconds that came off the clock for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But now the Buccaneers barely taking any time off the clock. They have to punt the ball right back to the Bears. The Bears still have 2 timeouts. They have the 2-minute warning. So plenty of time for Nick Foles and this Bears offense to get into field goal range and win the game. And guess what Nick Foles do? He takes his team down the field to get into field goal range and make the game-winning field goal. And Bears fans, I want you guys to reach out to Shaq Barrett on social media. Tell him thank you. And if you don't use social media, just go old school with it. Just write him a letter, and send it down to Tampa Bay as a thank you for committing that roughing the passer penalty on Nick Foles. But the roughing the passer penalty creates new life for the Bears, new life for Nick Foles. And guess what Nick Foles do? He went out there and he became Nicky Dimes, man, completing all the passes. He threw a beautiful sideline touch fade to David Montgomery. It looked like a rainbow going over the Tampa Bay defender right into David Montgomery's hands. It was a beautiful pass from Nick Foles, and it was good concentration as well on David Montgomery's part, because we've seen already our fair share of receivers on the Bears dropping the ball. But David Montgomery didn't drop the ball. He caught the ball, went out of bounds. They eventually ran the ball with David Montgomery so Tampa Bay can use their timeouts. They bring in Cairo Santos, and I'm thinking about the worst. But Cairo Santos shuts me up. He makes the field goal. The Bears are up 20-19. And now let's see if the GOAT, Tom Brady, Tom Terrific, can lead the Buccaneers down the field so they can get to field goal range and possibly make the game-winning field goal. But Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense, they got the ball back and they were moving it down the field just a little bit. But the Bears defense got real stingy. All of a sudden it's 4th down and Tom Brady has one more shot. He throws it down the middle to Cameron Brate, but DeAndre Houston Carson. And who would have thought DeAndre Houston Carson and game-winning plays would go in the same sentence? But DeAndre Houston Carson breaks up the pass. GG, game over, good game. The Chicago Bears defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-19. But it's funny as hell because after that play, Tom Brady is still standing on the field. He believes that was 3rd down. He thinks now it's 4th down. Tom Terrific, the future Hall of Famer, 6-time Super Bowl champion, the GOAT, everything. He got everything. Tom Brady forgets the downs and distance. At the end of the game, Tom Brady forgets what down it is. If I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I'm mad as hell that my quarterback, my experienced Super Bowl winning quarterback, forgot the downs and distance. But whether he really did or he was just saying that, I don't give a damn. I'm a Bears fan, and the Bears won 20-19. The Bears improved to 4-1, while Tampa Bay falls to 3-2. I love it. Is this Bears team elite? No, they're not. But I would rather see them win these games than lose these games. I would rather have them be 4-1 than 1-4. Because at least at 4-1, possibly, maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but quite possibly they can get shit turned around. Nick Foles' offense can percolate. They can move down the field. They can be more consistent. This defense can get even better, get more sacks, get more turnovers. They can get that shit going because they ain't nowhere near perfect and they're 4-1. And for those who do not like Nick Foles, who still think Mitch should be the quarterback, this game right here is a reason why Nick Foles should be the quarterback. I don't care what you tell me. Mitch Trubisky wasn't going to be able to do that. Yes, Mitch Trubisky is the superior talent. He is the superior athlete. And we saw that Thursday night. Nick Foles is going to sit there in the pocket. He's not mobile. Nick Foles is going to get sacked plenty of times. But where Mitch Trubisky is quicker and more superior with his legs, with his feet, Nick Foles is much quicker up here. And for a team like the Chicago Bears, where the defense is the superior part of this team, a quarterback like Nick Foles is what you need. Yes, it would be lovely if we had Pat Mahomes, if we had Deshaun Watson, if we had Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. It would be beautiful, but that's not the case. The Bears have a pretty damn good defense, and they need a quarterback to just be serviceable. And it sucks to say that. It sucks to settle for that. But right now, that's what you got. And right now, for this Bears team, Nick Foles is the quarterback. And you saw it during the game where Nick Foles was telling Matt Nagy, hey, let's up the tempo. Let's run no huddle. This defense is on the ropes, Let's run no huddle. Mitch Trubisky ain't going to say that. Mitch Trubisky is going to say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Nick Foles is a veteran. He may not be the superior athlete, but he knows what he's doing. Of course, this offense needs to get better. There's improvement for this whole team, offense and defense. But at the end of the day, the Chicago Bears defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-19, prime time on Thursday Night Football to improve to 4-1. They won't play again until they play the Carolina Panthers on, I believe, October 18th. So yeah, the Bears have a big break leading up to their next game against Carolina. But in the meantime, in between time, they can chill and they can enjoy beating Tom Brady. But I'm out. Like the video and share the video. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take it easy. God bless. Peace.